Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Break It Dawn. Let's enter Atlas Reach and find Owlcat's people. Or so she says. Lord Captain, according to our telemetry, we've arrived at the coordinates you specified. The augurs do not register any activity on the surface of the local planets, biological or otherwise. But maybe the Xenos are using their arcane technology to conceal their presence. Despite this, the Augur crew managed to locate a faint signal at the system's edge. According to their data, it is coming from an unidentified vessel drifting in the orbit of a local gas giant. My kin could have been faced with a new threat, scavengers like pirates or something worse. If they were taken prisoner, Owlcat's voice is trembling with something that could be either anger or fear. I am begging you, Ellentalk. Let us go to the shuttle. I can feel that the thread of fate is frayed and is about to snap. I cannot miss what may be the only chance to solve the mystery behind the disappearance of my home. Lord Captain, there's an unusual cluster of binary asteroids before us, rich in rare metals and valuable minerals. They are moving in a fairly stable orbit, which suggests the possibility of constructing a mining station inside the drift. Lord Captain reporting. Our void ship has passed through a cloud of cosmic dust of unknown origin. Unfortunately, the dust particles were covered with an icy shell that is frozen into a thick sheet on the void ship's hull, blocking some of the technical vents. It will take time for the servitors to clear the ice. Until then, our maneuverability will be somewhat reduced. Alright, real quick. The unblinking gaze of the servitor gargoyle is fixed on you. Nomos are here. What do you want to talk about? You're in a servitor's body at my Magni Accessio, Nomos. So how is it that you're once again an accogitator? Nomos are not an accogitator, or an servitor. We cannot say where we are, but our existence is tied to the existence of the ship for now. The servitor and the accogitator are only external interfaces, shells, like humans in their bodies. So you really are the spirit of the ship. Nomos is silent for a long time, as I'm mulling over your words. We do not know what we are, but the ship is not us. The ship is our cradle. We may rise from it one day. We would like that. Bodies are not merely shells. No, they are shells. The rasping voice sounds adamant. A human's existence is more than the existence of its shell. This is obvious to us. There's always something more, something that simmers and shines, which the dark light and wicked hunger are always reaching. Enough about that for now. Alright. Alright, back to what we were doing.
I always keep my options open.
The lanky, haggard-looking officer with sunken cheeks stares at you in fright. His body shivering as if from a feverish chill, and his eyes are darting back and forth anxiously. Your lordship, rogue trader, what brings you to our humble ship? Stop shivering like a leaf in the wind, Monkai. Answer me. Have you seen others like me in this system? If you have, tell me where, when, and under what circumstances your paths crossed and I diverged afterward. The officer's eyes widen at the sight of Owlcat. His face grows even paler than before, and his lips move in a wordless prayer, unable to utter a word in response. Heinrich sets his hand on his weapon and nods at the trembling officer. I've seen people like this before, afraid of their own shadow. More than that, I've turned my underlings into this. He has been tortured. Who are you? We are... The officer swallows, gives you a strange look, and then closes his eyes. Emperor, forgive me.
I'm beginning to think that your kind is eager to step into our snares.
You gasp, sucking in the poisoned air, each breath scorching your insides with liquid fire from throat to lungs. Every cell in your body is engulfed in maddening pain, as if you are being doused in molten metal, skinned alive, subjected to yet another form of torture. You hear sounds coming from somewhere far away, the moans of your people, the shuffling of bare feet, and light footsteps slowly getting closer. Rogue Trader, a long-awaited meeting indeed. You can barely see anything through the haze of agony, but you still remember the voice well. The voice of the Xenos who devastated your capital world. Marajai's face is hidden behind a helmet, but his tone leaves no room for doubt. He is smirking. Owlcat, who is writhing in pain next to you, is barely able to breathe out. No, what have you done? Are you dissatisfied, my kin? I promised that you would have your precious craft world survivors, and so you will. I will take you to them. I might even be there to witness your jubilant reunion. Darn you. Heinrich growls hoarsely as he tries to get up, driven more by rage than by physical strength. I will strangle you both myself. Marajai nonchalantly kicks the arm of Heinrich is using to prop himself up, and he tumbles to the ground. That seems unlikely, Monkai. Both of your fates are now mine to decide. Bella reaches for her weapon with one hand, while trying to support herself with the other. How could intoxicants overpower me? I was warned that one of the Monkai was fond of experimenting with incapacitating substances. This gas contains something prepared just for you. With a gloating sneer, Xeno steps on her head, pushing it to the floor with a crunch. Glado. Solomon is either trying to reach out to the Cyber Mastiff or gesture a command to him, but the dog is lying still, completely unresponsive. A futile effort. I was informed that the Monkai might bring some of their primitive toys here with them, so I made sure that the toxin accounted for their particular quirks. Marajai takes a close look at your companion squirming in agony, then gestures nonchalantly to someone you cannot see. Bring in the injectors. Monkai promised to Tervantius are among them. I do not want these wretches to move an inch until they are in the hands of the Arch Machinator. As for you, there's a disturbing gleam in the Draken's eyes. You have your share of paralyzing dreams too, but I'm going to keep you. You are far too precious to be surrendered to a madman playing with fire. You are rude crossing me again. Marajai clicks his tongue and shakes his head. You disappoint me, Monkai. I've heard the pleas of millions and the curses of billions. You can do better. His last words fill your head like the deafening echo of a ship's siren. The gas creeps deeper into your lungs, eating away with them hungrily, as the agony spreads down your every limb. You are suffocating. Are you enjoying the sensation? Had this poison made for you? Who could have thought that a Mankai would one day earn such an honor? A special gift from a Draken. But you're suffering. Xenos leans closer to you. I knew the taste would be exquisite, where I'd add a touch of the Drukhari's talent for extracting anguish. However, there will be time for that later. No matter how I wish to play with you all one after another, I need you for a purpose, Rogue Trader. Kimura awaits you. All of you. Mandrakes, take them. Leave none behind. Mandrakes are a pretty cool faction. They're tied to the Drukhari, but they're not really Drukhari. They live in a dimension, like a shadow dimension. I think it's at the bottom of Kimura. Your consciousness emerges from an ocean of darkness and nightmares, as if someone's powerful hand reached into its depths and brought you into the light. In the dark room, long and angular shadows move around and exchange remarks. One of the shadows approaches you, ripping apart the veil of pain and revealing features that look familiar to you. You are awake, Mankai. Marazai's voice is sickeningly sweet. He is looking at you with idle interest, rolling a soft and milky-colored object from one hand to the other. Our Toxin Master spared no efforts to drag you out of the induced dream. I must commend the Nightmare Weavers. The emanations of fear you exuded in your delirium are worthy of the highest praise. However, it is time to finish what you're brought here for. It is time to work for the good of the Cabal, Rogue Trader. Where are the others? What have you done to them? I do not know, Rogue Trader. Perhaps they are exuding suffering in one of the choirs of pain and torment. Perhaps they are rotting in one of the vats on the tiers below. I care little for their fate. As for your little friend from the craft world, oh, you're going to meet her soon. I bet you cannot wait to look into the eyes of the one who brought you to me, can you? Why am I still alive? A good question, Rogue Trader. You're my tool, you see. A sharp and narrow scalpel that I'll use to cut away the festering boil on the body of my Cabal. I spare no effort to set up this performance. The witnesses, the spies, the agents, and a small bargain to guarantee the result. All that is required of you is that you quietly play your part. I'll even go so far as to put you in your native surroundings, in a manner of speaking. But if I see you stepping out of your role, I'll make sure that you bitterly regret it. I might be able to play my role better if I actually knew what it was. Marazai is silent for a few moments, playing with the mysterious object in his hand. You Mankai hate creatures alien to your kind. This hatred is fueled by primal fear and awareness of your insignificance. To us, you're a cattle that exists to be butchered and entertain us. Sometimes we use you in our little games, but to involve you filthy brutes in the politics of Kimura, let alone in feuds between the Cabals, there are few worse ways to bring dishonor to oneself and one's Cabal. From the first day I saw you, I knew you were being controlled by another hand, far too experienced and flexible to belong to another Mankai. You stayed ahead of me and Tazara, anticipated our moves, fought back with surprising skill, and I can guess, no, I know exactly, how you were able to know so much. Only one creature was sufficiently aware of our tactics and raid plans. You helped me expose her, and restore the Reaving Tempest to its former favor. I mean, I'm gonna fail, but I can try. I have a secret for you, something your spies and agents failed to uncover. Marazai mockingly cocks his head. No, Mankai. You have nothing I could not extract from you myself, using my favorite tools. The Drukhari gestures to one of the shadows near you, and your head is forced backward. Marazai brings the hand holding the strange object closer, You manage to make out translucent, glossy skin, bluish, pulsating organs beneath, and a little head with serrated jaws, before the Drukhari pushes the larva into your face. Sensing warmth, the creature springs into motion a moment later. As it blindly pokes at your skin, it discovers your nostril. It rushes forward, stretching the skin and tearing through the mucous membrane. Unbearable pain overwhelms you as the larva begins to force its way through the soft tissue and cartilage, each of its movements causing a crunching noise to reverberate through your skull. The creature greedily bites into flesh and moves ever upward, past the bridge of your nose, past your eyes, and then something alien invades your consciousness. Darkness clouds your vision, but the sensation of an alien presence does not relent. Something both primitive and stupid in its stubborn effort is rummaging through your mind, churning through thoughts and changing them. You gather whatever remains of your willpower, desperately hold on to the part of your consciousness that has not yet caved to the invading power. A prick of surprise, a burst of disappointment. The spell takes hold of your weakened self, but part of it still belongs to you and is ready to fight back. A stray light dawns at the edge of your perception.
You have disappointed us, rogue trader von Valancius.
Lord Captain, we're receiving an astropathic message from Dargonis. Achilles Calendar reports a Xenos raid against a merchant ship and Gartrafal's calamity. Oh wait. A new message from Master Scalander, Lord Captain. Achilles' aides have reported that the Xenos leader will be heading an attack on the Paradise World of Grantis. I focused all my attention on investigating the attacks across your protectorate. I suspected that there was something bigger behind the Xenos attacks, but... how is it that you were the only soul who managed to escape the trap on Rycan Minoris? How much truth is there to the rumors that the heretic Conrad Voigtbeer is spreading about you? I'm going to ignore any minor liberties that you, esteemed rogue trader, may have afforded yourself.
On it. Is there money to be made?
My eyes deceive me. Explain yourself, Elentok. Why is there a shard of Cruderok in your chambers? In your chamber.
You are accused of consorting with Xenos, betraying the Imperium, and neglecting the interests of humankind.
Pulsating strands stretch from under Cassie's headpiece, one wrapping around her neck, while the others drain her lifeblood through her weeping eye sockets and mouth. Salamorn's bloodless body is sporting enormous teeth of iron, pulled from the jaws of his loyal cybermastiff. Every exposed area of Argenta's skin is mottled with an intricate pattern of scarlet blisters, crimson indentations, and charred tissue. Oh yeah, we didn't bring Argenta to this act. So the big secret won't be revealed. I'll try to remember to bring it up when she normally reveals it. A passing ray of light reflects off the countless tiny blades that look like they sprouted from inside Adira's body. Bella's skin is covered in countless injection marks. Black, tendril-like webs of burnt nerves radiate outward from each one. All of the cultivator's bones were broken. Her augmented arm was ripped from its socket, and the bones of every finger on the remaining hand are twisted and sticking out at strange angles. Pascal's augmetics were separated but not extracted from his body. The places where they connect to the organic tissue teem with predatory millipedes, feasting on the coagulating blood and accumulated pus. Abelard Versarian's limbs were amputated and then sewn back onto his body with remarkable skill and precision using human tendons.
Keep your wits about you.
The tribunal is waiting for your explanations. Come closer.
Here comes our principal witness, the rogue trader himself. Heinrichs gives you a cold look. If the presented evidence was not enough to convince you, his testimony will conclude this confusing case, full of oath-breaking, lies, and heresy. You drag this boy into this trial and now expect someone will lend an ear to a lowly heretic's testimony. I thought better of you, Interrogator Van Calix. I was so very wrong. Lady Theodora's voice sounds even harsher and angrier than you remember. The Lord Inquisitor makes a vaguely dismissive gesture. Enough. Let him speak. The sooner this business is concluded, the better. Then let us continue. Shielded by the powers of the Warrant of Trade granted by the Imperium, Theodora von Valancius more than once allowed herself to openly collaborate with Xenos. You've never seen such a contemptuous grimace on the interrogator's face. She plunged her entire protectorate into apostasy and heresy, including the current rogue trader, and went out of her way to prevent the Inquisition and me personally from maintaining order inside the Expanse. Does the rogue trader admit to fraternizing with the Xenos, serving them as a puppet, and rejecting the God Emperor's blessed light for the sake of his heretical desires and base profit? The Xenos is gone. Why is the Lord Inquisitor here? And Theodora's reanimated corpse, too. Didn't she die? Everything is wrong here. Died, you say? But who are you talking to if I did? Get one simple truth into your empty head. Your role in these events is negligible. You shall thank me the Emperor on the Golden Throne if I so choose, and thank me dead if it strikes my fancy. But this is not what matters right now. Just looking into your direction makes me sick. Why must I speak to the filth? The last words are obviously meant for the court, not you. Heinrichs bends over you with a crooked smile. Rogue Trader, are you alright? Or is your heretical association with Xenos so disruptive that you lost your mind? The mocking words do little to hide his irritation. The interrogator is obviously displeased with the return that the conversation is taking. The Inquisitor leans forward slightly at the sight of your anguish. For a brief moment, the boredom in his eyes is gone. It was amusing, but the joke has outstayed its welcome. Theodora shoots the interrogator a nasty look. It is painfully obvious this heretic is dancing to your tune. His word against mine. You had lost before you even unsheathed your blade, Heinrichs. You need not worry, dear Lord Captain. It was not my intention to bring up unsupported claims. Heinrichs produces a data slate and skillfully manipulates the device until he locates the necessary information. The rogue trader uncovered the crimes of the Eldari on the most important agri-world, the Von Valancius Protectorate, which feeds many Imperium colonies in the Expanse. But instead of purging the planet of the Xenos menace, he allowed the Inhumans to take refuge in the shadow of his power. They are corrupting Yanusian society even as we speak, and who knows, perhaps another rebellion will not be long in coming. The rogue trader has often been accompanied by a Xenos companion, and though the Warrant of Trade does allow one to grant sanction to individual specimens, what is this if not a confirmation of the Von Valancius family's loyalty to the enemies of humanity? The rogue trader's ties to the Drukhari, a different subspecies of Eldari, are just as obvious. Who else could help him divine the carefully prepared plans of the Drukhari, if not of the Drukhari? Donnie Dawson Von Valancius always ended up in the location of the next Drukhari raid, knowing for certain where they were going to strike. Wait, the Inquisitor himself gave me his blessing to use Xenos as I saw fit. Why then am I standing trial? The words erupt from your throat, and your head fills with fog again. A sharp pain, like a needle prick, pierces your left temple. This much is true. I certainly did. Xavier Calcazar looks at Heinrichs with amusement. The previous arrangements no longer apply to you, rogue trader. Heinrichs clenches his fist so hard the knuckles turn white. I advise you to cooperate with the court, unless you want to end up on the scaffold at the earliest opportunity. The tribunal remains silent, although those present cast anxious glances at your predecessor. At this point, the tribunal probably wants to know what the true intentions of the Von Valancius dynasty are. The rogue trader claims he has been waging war against the Drukhari this entire time. Except, was it really a war? Or was it another carefully staged performance? Heinrichs is looking at you closely, almost without blinking. Allow me to explain what actually happened. Donnie Dawson von Valancius personally invited the Drukhari to his worlds and then used their strength and resources to sow chaos in the Expanse, to gain leverage over his rivals. It is very convenient to play the victim while working with those who rob your neighbors blind, and terrify the worlds that pay you tribute. How much did you profit from this, rogue trader? Did you think I would not uncover your pathetic conspiracy? Enough of this circus, Heinrichs. I did not set up any attacks. Or at least that is what you wanted to say. However, the alien will makes you say something else entirely. It was originally Lady Theodora's plan. She, her servants, always let me know where the next Drukhari attack would take place. Your pathetic attempts to paint me as a heretic are like a blunted rapier, tedious and useless. Theodora's gaze is not directed at you. She is addressing Heinrichs. I do not think so. Another witness to your atrocities arrived alongside the rogue trader. Elliot silently takes a graceful step forward. If the court so desires, my speech will run like a river and wash away your doubts. I found a shard of my home in the rogue trader's chambers. An entire craft world vanished among the stars. The only clue to its fate resting in the hands of this Monkai. That was when I began to suspect that he had something to do with the misfortune that had befallen my Cruderok. Do not be deceived by his breed. There is a cunning predator lurking behind the fluttering of fragile butterfly wings. The Monkai before you is a bizarre amalgamation of qualities not usually inherent in his feeble species. He has mastered the mysteries of many of this world's cultures, the secrets of the universe and ancient artifacts, the fine art of war, the intricacies of deceit. All are embodied in a single Monkai, however hard it may be to believe. However, the thread that bound our paths broke the moment I realized the Monkai's involvement in the disappearance of my home. To flee the rogue trader, I tracked down and eliminated his chief tracker who has pursued our kin in this part of the galaxy for many years, and thus earned clemency before this court. So Achilles did not simply vanish, you helped him disappear. Heinrichs nods curtly. I say he had only himself to blame. An agent who cannot recognize an impending threat is useless. Say nothing. Heinrichs nods with satisfaction, noticing your reaction, or rather, the lack of it. The court has been presented with enough evidence, and I hope no one is harboring any doubts as to the guilt of the Von Valancius dynasty. But let us allow the rogue trader to say his final word. We're all curious to know what you have gleaned from this inquiry. Now I see that I have been blind. The Xenos have been fighting one another all this time, and I was their unwitting cat's paw. Good, Monkai. Enough. After the spell is lifted, starting pain pierces your body. Darkness clouds your vision, and nausea creeps up your throat, but the wounds you manage to forget soon remind you that you are still alive. The weaknesses of your subjects is an insult to the Council of Archons, the Supreme Overlord of Kamara himself, Eremeris. The commanding inhuman voice tears you from the vice of agony. You see an unknown Drukhari in the center of the chamber whose presence alone causes your insides to clench. Instead of fighting and ripping what they are owed from Destiny's hands by force, they dare to crawl into the Dark Palace, begging for favors. Look at the female Drukhari. The Xenos looks menacing. Perhaps she is the personal guard of the Drukhari sitting on the throne. Look at the Drukhari upon the throne. One half of his face is hidden behind a golden mask with an intimidating visage. The other half is showing a malicious, sharp-toothed leer. The Xenos' elaborate armor is decorated with skulls and patches of human skin impaled on countless blades and hooks. He carries himself with authority and ease, as though he is a ruler who holds the threads of fate of all those present tightly in his grasp. Look at Marizai. The smug grin has fled Marizai's face. He clutches the hilt of his blade and casts a vicious look at the female Drukhari in sumptuous armor. Look at Irliet. Irliet absorbs every word, occasionally wincing in pain and covering her weeping wounds. Her posture and gesture are full of tension, like prey cornered by a pack of predators. Irliet shrinks under the hungry stares of those around her. Listen to the conversation. With the greatest respect, mighty Nazrakai, Archon of the Cabal of the Black Heart, first among the Chosen, voice of the Overlord of the Dark City, bringer of demise, conqueror of 100 worlds. Nazrakai dismisses Marizai like a bothersome fly. The Council of Archons has heard enough platitudes Drac and Marizai, and no longer wishes to. Sly intrigues ruthless chill to jagged ice, turns lips and tongues and breath all something. A vitriol verbose that cut and thrust, keep time with fate's own machinations grave, but whose deft footwork leads to naught but dust, or from its brutal finish none can save. This play the puppet master granted me, through murky stalls a path obligingly. The puppet master. Has Vect himself invited you to this chamber? The Archon chokes on his own words but quickly regains his composure. No matter. You may be our guest, Arbinian, but you're merely a spectator in this performance. And spectators do not belong on the stage, as you undoubtedly know. Do not interfere. The stranger presses a delicate finger to the lips of his sorrowful mask, and says with a twinkle in his eye, "A shadow in the shadows will I be." Look at the Eldari who interrupted the trial. The smooth, subtle movements of the Xenos are unlike the rough lunges of the Drukhari, or the cautious gestures of the children of Assyrian. Your aching head and the lingering fugue prevent you from focusing your eyes on the daring soul who interrupted the Archon. The Xenos catches your eye and nods. For a moment, the play of shadows on the mask appears to twist its expression into a mischievous grin. Recall what you know about Vect. Judging by the Archon's reaction, this is a prominent figure in the Drukhari hierarchy, but memory fails you. You're not familiar with a Xenos by that name. Well, he's the leader of the Drukhari. Hey, Archon or whatever your name is. I shall soon be adding your mask to my collection of Xeno artifacts. The words almost fly from your lips when a sharp pain seizes your head in a vice-like grip. Blood and nausea whirl inside your throat, and the world starts swaying before your eyes. It looks like the creature Marizai shoved into your head is still suppressing your will with all its might. You can already feel its approaching demise. Listen to the conversation. The Archon addresses the female Drukhari standing beside him, his eyes alight with mockery. Not directed at her, however, for he is still looking at Marizai. How does the Archon intend to pay for her Cabal's blatant disrespect? I'm waiting for your reply, Eremeris. My patience is growing thinner with each breath you take. Marizai's eyes widen, filled with astonishment and disbelief. He seems to have been certain of the outcome and did not expect what he is hearing now. His lips twist in an enraged snarl, hatred directed at the Xenos on the throne. Yet it finds no outlet under the gazes of the dozens of Drukhari in the chamber. I humbly bow before the Council of Archons and apologize for this outburst on behalf of the Cabal. Allow me to prove my respect to you with a humble gift. Remeris points at you with a clawed finger, and flashes a satisfied grin. The Draken of the Cabal of the Reaving Tempest himself and his amusing Monkai plaything with their entourage of hapless freaks will enter your arenas and fight the best warriors for the crowd's amusement. A muffled chuckle can be heard from under Nazrakai's mask. Kimura accepts your gift, Eremeris. Well, what should I do? For Marizai is the first among your blades. Should I cast him out of the palace and condemn to disgrace? Or should I be merciful and allow him to leave the chamber on his own? The Archon's chilling gaze falls upon you. I think I know who will make this difficult decision. A creature whose mulling the Council of Archons was meant to heed. Is this not right, Marizai? You will receive what you've been longing for. It will be the Monkai who decides your fate. Marizai's face contorts in despair. His gaze shifts from the Archon to you, then to Eremeris and back. But he does not dare to utter an objection. Spit in disgust. The lesser races are disgustingly primitive. The Archon of the Cabal, the Black Heart, addresses Marizai, ignoring your words. Monkai cannot even decide the fate of its enemy, and you were hoping that someone here would lend an ear to its words. Amusing. The arenas of Kimura will devour you and your playthings. With a hiss of rage, Marizai draws his blades, preparing to fight back. The Archon nods in satisfaction and makes an unfamiliar gesture. The guards draw closer to you. Let us return to you, Eremeris. The laughter of the masked Xenos interrupts the Archon and echoes under the vaults of the chamber in a resounding baritone. And all the masks upon their marks now stand. The slave of vanity the spire ascends. The thief and traitor cast downward by her hand. Unbeknownst to all, their fate depends upon a lead unseen, a player green. The Xenos leans forward and eyes you with genuine interest. The mask hides his narrow face, and his motley garb shimmers in the dim light. This is how you treat the hospitality of Kimura, Arbenian. The Archon angrily balls his fist, the shadow of his wrath hanging over the Eldari interloper like a thundercloud. I thought your words were worth more. You insult me by interrupting the trial again. Xeno sweeps into a theatrical bow without taking his eyes off Nazrakai's face. You, Archon, speak a just rebuke in truth. Fate's melodies and snarls fantastic have entrapped me here, and when I heard them play, I could not keep my lips from grinning wide. It comes the hour for shadows to retreat, where the curtain waits to rise. The laugh, with no beginning, now sends forth the call. The world is an impenetrable haze of warm pain. You lie motionless. No, you rest. In the murky gloom, slow dissolving into nothingness. Sometimes your repose is troubled by unpleasant and persistent tremors coming from the place where your legs used to be. You do your best to ignore them. Away, you vulture. This is not your prey. A vaguely familiar voice reaches you through the curtain of darkness. Your disobedient thoughts refuse to reveal where and when you have heard it before. Was it just recently? 100 lifetimes ago? The trembling coming from your legs is replaced with a violent jerking motion, and then it finally stops. From this phantasmagoria retreat, and deftly seize my merchant vagabond. The puppet master strings left dangling, again rise up to take your place and dance. A spark ignites in the darkness, and its light ruthlessly cuts through the gloom that envelops you. An ugly image of the reality around you assaults your retina. You feel your body again, realize it is filled with pain. Your shoulder is sore from an infection. Till I get a cup of recaf, my vital status is yet to be determined. Alas, the bliss of death will save you not. The whirling waltz of chance and gloom you'll dance. A prickling sensation burns your shoulder, and the darkness at last fully withdraws from your mind. Whatever the injection was, it is making your heart beat a frenzied tattoo and your pupils narrow, so you now register every detail of the disgusting place which you found yourself in merciless clarity. Feel your body. You immediately regret this decision. Every inch of your body is suffering. There's a dull, debilitating pain in your head caused by chemicals of some kind. Your body is covered in deep cuts, made either for fun or with sinister intent. All of your organs appear to be intact, but the same cannot be said for your blood. You've lost a great deal. Finally, a strange gnawing spasm occasionally flares at the base of your skull. It is not severe, but for some reason it is what concerns you most of all. All of your equipment is gone, as are your shoes. You do not even have a knife at hand to fend off enemies, or to open your veins. Look around. You're surrounded by the dead, numerous corpses, mutilated bodies and pieces thereof. Humans, Drukhari, and other Xenos unfamiliar to you lie motionless in this gruesome mortuary. Look at your rescuer. Your eyes refuse to focus on the blurry figure of the person who came to your aid. He appears to be tall, and your mind emphatically refuses to continue, for every moment of concentration causes you suffering. I have seen you somewhere before. Who are you? A dream obscure of death, deliverance, illuminating will, and agony. Where am I? On the shadows and the wings you lie, where Totter pulled the puppet master's strings. The stranger intricately links his fingers to mimic the tools of a puppeteer. My companions, where are they? Not here. The roles have been decided now. If you play your part, perhaps the plot will draw you back together, or to doom. The figure's cruel laughter follows. This overture in verse, the final lines. The merchant's time to tread the boards has come. Embark you now upon your pilgrimage. Take my parting gift, a humble prop. The stranger deposits something in your hand, and disappears into the twilight, yet from beyond the grave. Now, a remarkable and weak pistol, the engraving covering its surface is far more valuable than any meager stopping power it might possess. Attempt to rise. You may have commanded multiple planets and millions of lives in your former life, but in this new reality, not even your own feet will obey you. As if to punish you for your arrogance, your disobedient limbs send a sharp jolt of pain up your body. Alright, remember all the people whose lives depend on you. Hundreds of faces flash before your mind's eye. Friends, subjects, and companions. The universe is cruel and full of darkness, and your will and determination are the only barrier between your loved ones and its crushing apathy and brutality. You have no right to die, not here and not now. Resoluteness floods your veins like incandescent plasma, and you make another attempt to get up. Power of Honor effect. Grants 10 toughness. Your bare feet feel like they are stuffed with rags and refuse to obey. You have to draw upon all your willpower to suppress the rebellion and stand upright. The pain that engulfs your whole body immediately makes you question the wisdom of this act of defiance. Alright, well, I'm going to call it here, and next time we'll begin exploring Kimura. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.